I'm taking the least used and arguably worst tactic in Football Manager, the park the bus style, and piece by piece we attempt to improve it using all the meta team instructions.
Failure is your destiny.
Braga in Portugal are the unlucky victims. So let me explain. What you have on screen there is a 4-2-4 using team instructions that are basically summed up as meta, making your tactic really successful. It's attacking mentality, it's high tempo, there's counter press, much high defensive line, high press, pressing is much more often. On the other hand, this is 4-2-4 park the bus, which nobody uses. And to make matters worse, it's a preset, so it's even worse. And the team instructions on this one are pretty basic stuff. You can see it's got direct passing, lower tempo, time wasting all over the place. In transition is something you won't see often. In regroup and slow pace down. And out of possession, you're low blocking. So what we're going to do every 6 months is spin this wheel, and on this wheel are all those meta instructions, and we're going to add one of these instructions every 6 months to see how close we can get that tactic to that tactic without getting sacked by Braga. So this is Braga at the halfway point of the season using the 4-2-4 smash mouth meta style, and you can see what it did for them. Top of the league, undefeated, so it's a bit of a banger. So what I've done now is I've gone back to the start of the season, and we're going to do the same thing but with the horrible park the bus tactic, just so you can see the difference between the two tactics. So hopefully that shows you how bad that tactic is. We lasted until the 19th of November after a truly stinking run, and they're sat all the way down in 12th. So yeah, it sucks. So back to the start we go again, and this time we're going to spin the wheel to see if one little team instruction can actually stop us getting sacked. The first big job is to try and get to blooming December the 31st, and to help us out, the defensive line is going to shift massively from low to much higher. This really is a big change. It may not look much as we move it up to much higher, but I'm convinced this will help out. I mean, we can't do any worse, can we? Let's put a team in. So I've stuck my best team in. Annoyingly, Banza, who is a cracking forward, is out on loan somewhere, so we'll have to stick someone else in up there. But a note on the positions and roles, they're all dictated to by the park the bus tactic. I'm not changing them at all. So we've only got to the 29th of October, and I've had to call an audible, because as it stands, we're about to get sacked already. This has arguably made it even worse. So in pure desperation, I've had to jump to the wheel early, and in the hope that we can save our job. And it will be change all roles to meta. We should do it. So in a desperate attempt to save our job, we've got the meta one here. So all these, we're going to change to them. So we'll get on with that now. It's got to help. Away goes the pressing forward on defend in exchange for a deep line forward on attack. And probably one of the biggest ones is these two fullbacks will change to wing backs on attack. So that should give us some attacking thrust. So now it's done. The Braga Hell tactic is on its way. We've got the park the bus team instructions, but now we've got the meta player roles. Will that help us keep us in a job? Because we are seriously in the mud. This change had an immediate effect, and we even beat Giants Benfica. You can literally pinpoint when all those roles changed. However, the board are even more unhappy. We are in big trouble here. After that Benfica match, we went on a pretty good run, but it wasn't good enough as they sacked us again. So for us, it was back to the start, 10th of July 2023. We start with the last version of the tactic we were at, so we've got the much higher defensive line and we've got all the new player roles. So this is already getting embarrassing. 2 failures and we haven't even got going yet. Next up, we will be adding tempo to higher. Again, this slight change might make the world of difference. We go from slightly lower and crank it right up to higher. Our big problem is always going to be this, challenge for the Premier League title. Right, listen up. After an absolutely perfect pre-season, the league didn't start great. We picked it up a bit and now we're faltering. We're in 8th position. They're starting to get pissy. A shot at the wheel, one that could be absolutely vital to see this first season out in attempt 2. And it looks like we're going to be adding counter, which makes a lot of sense when you look at the actual tactic. So into the tactic we go. It's kind of weird when you look at it that they've got regrouping and they've got take long kicks, but they don't have counter. Well, now they do. Oh, for God's sake. I mean,
sometimes it may be good, sometimes it may be shit.
29th of March we lasted till. If you look at our form from January, I think that's super harsh. I mean, we battered Benfica 5-1 in the semi-finals of one of the cups, and that was with 25% possession, by the way. So when they sacked us, we were 6th. Not good enough, apparently. So yeah, we're back again. 10th of July, 2023. We're getting better though. March the 29th, we lasted till this time. So this time we're going to add on to this, to the park the bus tactic. I think this could be the one, dudes. I think this could be the one. We're also going to add, now we're talking, the mentality will rise to attacking. So a lot of the elements we've added have already had a good effect, but this one, where the mentality rises up to attacking, could be the one that tips us into that Champions League. It's the halfway point of the season, and we might have created something here. Check out this Route 1. Little flick on, Kwasani in, and that's a win over Sporting. Pretty comfortably as well, with only 38% of ball. We also had an epic against Benfica at home, which we should have won. In fact, the only game we lost in the league was to Porto, who are top of the league, but we're top 3, and they're still not happy. Despite that, this is the best version of the tactic so far. The custom park the bus with various changes to the original has done really well. And it's still keeping the main principles of the tactic because we are way down in 14th in terms of possession in the league. So I might save that version because it's looking good, but I'm hoping another tweak might make it even better. So let's see what it's going to be. This could be actually quite handy actually. We're going to remove that time wasting. This isn't a bad result actually because it's a tiny change to the tactic, but it just might help it and keep the momentum we've built up.
Let's go.
First, let's get the bad news out of the way. The board are really not happy. But it does mean they haven't pulled the trigger and we stay 4th in the league and see out the season. There was definitely some ups and downs as the season went on, but we've done just enough, I think, to keep our jobs, and we also bagged 100 goals. So we've managed to keep our job, so it's time to improve this a step further. So mission 1 is kind of accomplished. It's just, can we get to the next level now and actually win something with Braga? And to do that, the low press is out of here. This is massive. So a huge change for this tactic now as the low block moves to high press, which is synonymous with the high press meta styles. But now there's a whole host of the key elements of the meta into the park the bus style as well. It's like a weird combination. How will it fare in season 2? So having Simon Banza back for season 2 is a massive, massive boost. Just ask Porto. Weird season so far though, some big wins and some frustrating defeats. We're 4th in the league, but Porto and Benfica are out of sight. But we're still in both cups and Conference League might be an option. Okay, big push to the end of the season, trying to get this trophy. That is going to help absolutely massively. In transition, regroup says goodbye and replaced with counter press. Counter press adopted by nearly everybody when making this sort of tactic could be a big step forward. The addition of counter press was the big change I was looking for, as we became the first team to beat Porto, and the second half of the season we were pretty dominant and stormed up to 3rd. The board are happier now. This tactic now looking good, there's not much left to change. The hybrid of park the bus and the meta continues. Into season 3, it's all or nothing now. We either win a trophy or we get sacked. I'm convinced that will mean we get the trophy. So this trigger press up to much more often is the last big thing to change his tactic on its head. There's still a few instructions I wouldn't normally have, like hit early crosses, be more disciplined, things like that, but in general, most of them are pretty much the ones that you associate with the meta press tactics. Okay, update. League 4th behind the big 3, but we've only lost twice, so it's not as bad as it looks. We've flopped in the Europa League, Portuguese Cup was still in, same with the League Cup, and we've absolutely brutalised the Conference League. So things are looking decent. Couple of nice players brought in, and we are the top scorers in the league. So one big last push here should tip us over the edge for this trophy in the second half of the season. And this will aid it by getting rid of early crosses like that. So removing early crosses just means the build-up play should be a little bit more slick and we won't just hoof balls into the box. Alright, first game in, we only went and beat Benfica. Now they did get their revenge, but other than that, second half of the season, pretty faultless. And it does mean we've got a final coming here against Borussia Mönchengladbach. Can we possibly make the custom park the bus, which isn't really a park the bus anymore, win something? Another good season in the league, but I just think Porto and Benfica are just too strong for us. We only lost 4 times, drew too many matches though. All that really remains from the first Park the Bus is, most of it is in possession, passing to space, set pieces, even be more disciplined. Nothing else has really changed. We're still slowing the pace down, which is a bit annoying, but out of possession is pretty much where you'd want to be. The only thing that's a bit weird is we've got a much higher defensive line and we're dropping off more as well, which is a bit odd. Into the Conference League final then. 4 first half goals in no time meant that we actually got the job done. Can you believe it? And it only took us 3 seasons.
What?
Yeah, that might have been a lie. Right, so that final version from January through till the end of the season actually got us a trophy. It didn't blitz the league like the first tactic did, unspoiled, but it did okay. And at least them lot are relatively happy now. Relatively. There we go then, we've destroyed the Gegenpress in a prior video. And now we've made the absolute opposite of Park the Bus. Just don't tell Big Sam or Jose.
This is football heritage.